Hello everyone, this is Dr. Yilmaz Kemal Yüce. In ICMTEL 2023, me and my colleagues, we are reporting on the development of a mobile application for taking notes based on Cornell technique. In addition to the development, we will present you the user statistics and acceptance reports here in this presentation. This is the outline of our presentation. We will have a quick look at the definition of note-taking and its impact on learning. We will cover what the problems of note-taking are. And then we will have a look at the note-taking techniques, methods, and mobile applications. We will present the aim of the study and then the materials and methodology we have adopted. And finally, results and discussion and future work will be the two last topics of the presentation. Let's start with the first one. Note-taking is a daily and professional life activity we make use of. It's actually something much more than simply writing down on a linear basis what we have listened to or read. It's an information processing approach, and it's actually a part of a routine of productive thought processes. Unfortunately, very little information regarding the approaches or techniques of note-taking are presented to students during their education. Nevertheless, 98% of college students have been reported to take notes during their education. Note-taking is actually, from a cognitive point of view, a part of the learning process. And it's not basically equal to shortened text of what we listen or read during a session. As part of the learning process, it actually helps the encoding and storage activities primarily. In addition, it helps retention and recall. Two studies reported that it significantly raises attention compared to only listening to lesson. On the other hand, students report that they remain attentive while they are taking notes. Note-taking is reported to be a predictor of course achievement, and vice versa. High achievers are reported to be note-takers in the class. Note-taking has many advantages, but there are problems to it as well. These problems basically occur due to two reasons. Unfortunately, these problems cause some negative consequences in learning and education. The first one is the application of weak strategies and techniques. Unfortunately, note-taking is basically of two types: linear note-taking and non-linear note-taking. There are strategies which are in the non-linear note-taking type, but still organizing ideas linearly means linear note-taking, and it's not really an effective way of taking notes. There is also the second reason, which is unfortunately due to incomplete application of the strategies or methods of note-taking, and it causes poor or incomplete note-taking, and around 70% of critical lecture points are reported to be omitted by students in the class context. So let's have a look at the techniques, methods, and mobile applications for note-taking. The note-taking methods actually guide learners through a standardized and effective method or a step-by-step procedure of processing lecture or similar context material. They are made up of certain principles, instructions, and even a physical format. As we have just mentioned, linear note-taking is linear organization of notes, and it is reported to be restricting learning outputs. However, on the other hand, nonlinear note-taking techniques have validated strategies to activate cognitive processes mentioned. Busan method, verbatim split method, SOAR method, Bartosch active method, and Cornell method are some examples of note-taking techniques and methods. When it comes to note-taking in the digital environment, it is called digital note-taking, and we know there are lots of mobile applications and web applications available for note-taking. In the literature, there are a number of studies reporting on the students' perception of mobile applications for note-taking. One study in Finland reports that students claim note-taking is the most important use of mobile devices. This study has been conducted in Finland among students of medical and dental schools. Group notes is another application which allows students to form groups to take digital notes. Other notes also is another application for which a study reported that students say it is relatively quick to take notes using it. The aim of this study is simply we take note-taking as an activity for learning, and considering the applications in the marketplaces available now, we basically see that most of them are based on linear note-taking, which is an ineffective type of note-taking. And some of them are based on structured note-taking techniques, but they offer very limited functionality. Hence, we would like to develop a mobile application for note-taking with the proposed electronic model. It will be based on an effective note-taking technique, scientifically proven effectiveness in learning is an aspect of it. And the model brings different learning approaches together, like, for example, collaborative note-taking. And it offers features for organizing notes with respect to logical relationships and help users maintain and complete their learning processes. Let's have a look at the materials and methodology. We simply, for the sake of our proposed model, adopted Cornell note-taking technique. Also, we've added the ability to take notes collaboratively. We offer users a hierarchical storage model, which helps them to store and organize their notes in a logical relationship manner. And the application offers reminders and note history functionalities to help users maintain and complete their learning through guidance of note-taking technique. The Cornell note-taking technique is created by Walter Pauck. He extended his note-taking technique in his book titled How to Study in College. Cornell note-taking technique is established on a few components. The first one is the context of learning activity performed. a note-taking sheet with a specific structural format, 5 routines: record, reduce, recite, reflect, review, and algorithms having steps of 5 routines to be performed using the note-taking sheet, and finally timing of these algorithms, when to use them. This is the Cornell Techniques note-taking format. It has 3 partitions: notes column, cue column, and summary area, with defined dimensions. Each partition is matched with a different combination of learning context, routines, and timing. Many studies have presented on the effectiveness of Cornell technique. One of them has measured the impact on understanding and retention of the content on the text dictated. And Cornell technique has been the one with the most impact versus the linear note-taking technique. Another study compared verbatim Cornell technique and outline note-taking methods, and Cornell note-taking has found to be the most effective in enhancing retrieval of lecture information. Well, note-taking in collaboration means sharing notes and bringing potential of taking notes together. Acceptance towards this idea among the students has been reported. And actually, students are interested in reading other students' notes too. This opportunity offers sharing notes among also completing missing parts of notes. We know that there are people with different learning styles, and bringing those people with different learning styles will simply combine and reflect their learning strengths on notes. The folder file hierarchical storage model is basically a hierarchical abstraction and is already in use in modern operating systems. Here, notes are the files, collections are the folders. Each user owns a root collection, and hierarchy of collections and notes can be simply created by every user. For maintaining and completing learning processes, we have defined 2 functionalities: reminders and note history. Users can set their reminders for a specific date to continue their studying on a note. It allows users to complete a note based on 5 routines. On the other hand, note history basically allows users to rephrase and monitor their progress on notes. It also makes it possible to simply version their notes based on date. We have adopted the incremental model as a software development lifecycle, and this is because we simply needed to quickly release with core functionality, and we knew most of the requirements up front. We handled requirement analysis, made some prioritization on essential functionality, and then in the design stage, we have simply designed a data model, a UML class diagram, UML use case diagram, and we also modeled the user interface. For this purpose, we had a medium fidelity click-through prototype using Adobe XD version 42. For the implementation purposes, we adopted Dart programming language with Flutter framework and Android Studio, IntelliJ IDEA integrated development environments. This is the system architecture. As you can see, we have adopted Google's Firebase service as the database. Also, our users can both make use of their mobile devices, and they can also use through the web. To be able to use, a user must have a Google account, and we make use of Google Auth API for this purpose. This is our data model that we have implemented on Google Firebase. It's basically a JSON notation. At the root are two types of vectors for users and groups. These are the screens starting from login to viewing a note. In the middle is the main screen through which user simply can create a collection, a new note, or a new group. Or even she can make searches through the names of collections and notes. Here are the editor graphical user interfaces and note history and group creation screens. As you can see, on the left, the first screen, the user simply can view the note, and she or he can simply resize using these bars on the lines the sizes of the partitions as the user wants. It's customized. So whenever user double taps on one of the partitions of a note on the left, she can simply see that partition in the editor UI, the second screen. The double tap for viewing and editing a partition of a note is a design choice related to Midas touch phenomenon in interface design. So here are our results. First of all, it's available for Android in Google Play. We first released it in March 2022. Since then, we had 2 updates until September 2022. We have over 1K plus downloads, more than 1,000 downloads. There are users from 82 different countries. Here are the user activity statistics for the last 4 weeks per country. In Argentina and United States, we have 31 users, and as you can see, the engaged session per user is 2.09 in average. The average engagement time is 18 minutes 2 seconds. For the last 4 weeks, the users have fired 6,778 events. These are the user activity statistics per language. Spanish is the first language, English is the second. This is the event count for the last 3 months. As you can see, user engagement is very high. Let's have a look at the discussion and future work. In the new version, we will add a self-examining tool for users to find out their learning style. This will basically increase individuals' understanding of the process of learning from experience. Hence, it will enable users to realize their unique individual approach. This will allow people with different learning styles to come together and help each other. We will have a new feature for linking notes, so that from one note to another note, user will be able to hop. Reminders will be more detailed, and there will be implicit reminders where we will simply make it possible for users to simply continue on studying on a specific note which they have only filled the notes queue. We've also compared our application with other applications using Cornell technique. So it's obviously superior based on the features, based on available features, and these are our references. Thank you for listening. If you have any questions, please do not hesitate to ask.